Welcome to chemistry class. Students, do you know every day we are using a chemical compound in our food to enhance our taste. Can you answer this? Do you know that? Okay, let me answer this. This chemical compound we are using every day is sodium chloride. I repeat, sodium chloride. This is an ionic compound and the sodium chloride contains the alkali metal cation Na plus and the anion Cl minus ion, which is called an halide ion. But nowadays the sodium chloride is called iodized salt. We are consuming iodized salt every day. What is iodized salt? Why it is so called? Because it contains iodine content in form of iodide ion. In form of iodide ion, just to avoid goiter. So that means the iodine is also present in form of iodide ion. Both iodine and halide ion, that is Cl minus ion, belongs to the class halogens. I repeat, halogens. So students, today's discussion is about halogens. Halogens, what does it mean? Why they are so called? And how many members are present here? And it belongs to which group of the periodic table? Halogens are 5 elements. They are fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine and radioactive astatine. They belongs to 17th group of the periodic table. I repeat, 17th group of the long form of the periodic table. And why they are so called? Why they are called halogens? It is derived from the Greek word halos. Halos we mean salt, gens we mean to form. So halogens are salt producer, salt forming elements, because most of the salts are available in form of Cl minus, I mean chloride, bromide, iodide usually. So if somebody asks you that, give one example of ionic compound, the compound that spontaneously comes to your mind is sodium chloride. Though so many numerous examples of ionic compounds are available, but first compound that strikes to our mind is sodium chloride, which contains halide ion, Cl minus ion. So let's see what are the physical and chemical properties of halogens and how can you prepare chlorine gas, HCl, and what are interhalogen compounds. This we will discuss today. The physical properties, chemical properties, the halogens, particularly chlorine, that one of the halogen compound, hydrochloric acid or HCl, hydrogen chloride gas, and the interhalogen compounds. Let's start with physical properties of halogens. The physical properties of halogens are displayed on your TV screen. Let's have a look here. The first physical property we are going to discuss is electronic configuration. Electronic configurations. So what are the electronic configuration of halogens? Electronic configuration is, the outer cell electronic configuration is Ns to Np5. What does it mean? 2 electron in s orbital, 5 electrons in p sub cell, Ns to Np5. How many electrons are there in the outer cell of halogens? 7 electrons, out of which 5 electrons in p sub cell, resulting 1 unpaired electron in p sub cell. So halogens have got 1 unpaired electron, particularly the element fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine and astatine. So the general electronic configuration of halogen is Ns to Np5, which I am writing on the whiteboard. Let's have a look here. Ns to Np5, 7 electrons. So they have the tendency to accept 1 electron to form the stable electronic configuration, that is 8 electron outer cell. This characteristics, this electronic configuration affects the physical properties of halogens. Let's see here. Atomic radius and ionic radius. What about the atomic radius and ionic radius? Increases down the group, it is obvious. We know that. Down the group, atomic radius increases. Why? Because the number of cells increases. So there is constant increase in atomic radius of the halogens. It is displayed on your TV screen, reflected here. Coming to next physical properties, that is ionization enthalpy. Ionization enthalpy, as you know, the energy, amount of energy required to remove the electron from the outermost cell of a neutral isolated gaseous atom. So here halogens having high effective nuclear charge, very high ionization enthalpy. The halogens possess high ionization enthalpy. So they have the least tendency to form cation. But the ionization energy, as you know, decays down the groove. Ionization energy decays down the groove. Why? Because the atomic radius increases down the groove. So iodine having the lowest ionization energy here. Okay, I am not talking about the astatine, which is radioactive. So I am talking about the 4 halogens here: fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Iodine has the lowest ionization energy, hence it has the tendency to form cation. Iodine can form the cation like I+. Otherwise, rest of the elements, they don't have any tendency to lose electron because of their high ionization energy. They don't form cations. Next physical property, electron gain enthalpy, also called electron affinity. Halogens have high electron affinity. They have high electron gain enthalpy. As you know, electron affinity or electron gain enthalpy, what is the definition? Amount of energy released when a neutral gaseous atom accepts one electron to give the corresponding gaseous anion. Let me show one example here of how to define the electron affinity. Let's have a look on the whiteboard. I am going to explain the electron affinity on the whiteboard. Let's have a look here. This is Cl gaseous element. When it accepts one electron, it gives the corresponding gaseous anion and energy is released. This energy is called electron gain enthalpy or electron affinity. So as you know, fast electron affinity is positive, whereas fast electron gain enthalpy is negative. Anyway, it is an exothermic process here. Heat is released. Now question comes, what is the trend of electron affinity down the groove? Electron affinity decreases or increases? It does not show regular behavior here. First electron affinity increases, then decreases. Then which element has the highest electron affinity in the periodic table? Halogens are the element which possess high electron affinity. Which element possesses the highest electron affinity here? It is chlorine, student. You know that. Remember this. Chlorine is the element having the highest electron affinity. Okay. Now question comes, why chlorine? Why not fluorine? Fluorine is the smaller size element. The fluorine should have the highest electron affinity. Why chlorine then? I have already answered this in the previous classes. In chalcogens I have answered this. In nitrogen family also I have discussed this question. That elements of third period, they possess higher electron affinity than the elements of second period, particularly in p block elements. So here chlorine has the higher electron affinity than fluorine. It is because, same answer once again, let me repeat that. Fluorine, because of small size, there is inter-electronic repulsion between the electron added and electrons in the outermost shell. How many electrons? 7 electrons. Fluorine is smaller in size. There are 7 electrons in the outermost shell of fluorine. And we are adding one more electron. So there is repulsion. In order to overcome this repulsion, a part of the heat evolved is consumed here. Otherwise, how can we add the electron? Fluorine can't form F- ion. Let me show that once again here. The amount of energy released here obviously greater than this one. Why this is so? It is because of inter-electronic repulsion between the electrons in the outermost shell and electrons added. Because of that, a part of the heat evolved. Here, a part of the heat evolved is consumed in order to overcome this repulsion. That is why the electron affinity of fluorine lesser than that of chlorine. Then what is the decreasing order? Cl, chlorine has the highest electron affinity, followed by fluorine, followed by bromine, followed by iodine. This is the decreasing order of electron affinity. Cl greater than F, greater than Br, greater than iodine. This is the electron gain enthalpy order or electron affinity order. And in fact, the chlorine is the element with the highest electron affinity in the periodic table. Is that clear? And everything is displayed on a TV screen also. You can have a better understanding if you go through all the wordings displayed on a TV screen. Okay, this is the electron gain enthalpy. Let's move to the next physical properties, electronegativity. Once again, halogens are the element with the highest electronegativity. These elements they possess high electronegativity, and fluorine is the element with the highest electronegativity here. The element with the highest electronegativity, fluorine. Why fluorine has the highest electronegativity? Can you answer this? Because the small size and high effective nuclear charge, fluorine is the element with the highest electronegativity. And what about the trend of electronegativity? Same thing, we have already discussed that. Electronegativity decays down the groove. Why? Not when it is engages. So, electronegativity decays down the groove. That's common phenomenon. Electron affinity, ionization energy, electronegativity usually decays down the groove. Next physical property about the physical state. Physical state. First two halogens, F2 and Cl2. Let me tell you here, halogens are diatomic. Diatomic, what does it mean? Atomicity 2. That means in one molecule of halogen, two atoms are present. F2, Cl2, Br2, I2. Okay? F2 and Cl2, they are gases. Bromine, Br2 is a liquid and iodine is a solid. So, halogens are diatomic and this is the physical state. Fluorine, chlorine, they are gases. Bromine is a liquid, iodine is a solid. What about their melting point and boiling points? Increases. Why melting point, boiling point increases? Because being diatomic, halogens are non-polar. No difference in electronegativity between the elements. So, they are non-polar. Then what is the force which is responsible for that boiling point? It's the Van der Waals force of attractions. Van der Waals force of attraction directly proportional to size. So, as the size increases, Van der Waals force of attraction increases, melting point, boiling point increases. So, melting point, boiling point shows increasing behavior to down the groove. Okay, iodine has the highest boiling point and fluorine the lowest boiling point. It is displayed on a TV screen. Once again, you can have look here. The melting point and boiling point steadily increase with increasing odd number. I mean down the groove, melting point, boiling point increases because Van der Waals force of attraction increases. What about the color? Are the halogens are colored? Yes, halogens are colored. Why? Why halogens are colored? The reason is there. It is because of absorption of radiation in visible region, which results in excitation of electron to higher energy levels. Okay, that is why they are colored. The color of the fluorine, light yellow, chlorine, greenish yellow. You must have seen in the laboratory. Chlorine, you must have prepared in the laboratory. Okay, we will discuss about the preparation of chlorine after a few minutes. Then okay, let me once again tell you about the color of the halogens. All the halogens are colored. Fluorine, light yellow, chlorine, greenish yellow, bromine, red, and iodine is a violet color solid. Okay, so these are this is the color of the halogens. You have to remember. Remember, color depends upon the amount of the light it absorbs and the electron excitation up to higher energy levels. So if the electron is excited to higher energy levels, then the energy released is maximum. When energy released is maximum, wavelength is minimum. So that is why they have different colors. So it depends upon ionization energy. Fluorine light yellow because it absorbs the violet region of the visible light. Is that clear, students? I think you must have proper understanding. Let me once again refresh you. Halogens are colored. You have to remember the color of the halogens. Fluorine light yellow, chlorine greenish yellow, bromine red color liquid, iodine is a violet solid depending upon the amount of energy absorbed in the visible region. Okay. Next physical properties we are moving, bond dissociation energy. Bond dissociation energy, once again, one more important point you have to remember, many upon this question has been asked, arrange the halogens in decreasing order of bond energy. Very important. This is a very important question from the point of view of CHSE 2021. So, what is the decreasing order of bond dissociation energy? Okay, Cl2 is the highest, it has the highest bond energy, displayed in a TV screen here. Cl2, highest bond energy, followed by bromine, followed by fluorine, and followed by iodine. See, chlorine has the highest bond dissociation energy, but fluorine, its position is number 3. Okay, after bromine, its bond energy is there. Bromine, again, you see, bromine has higher bond dissociation energy than fluorine. Why this is so? Once again, fluorine is smaller size. F2, fluorine is smaller size. 7 electrons here, 7 electrons here. More repulsion. So as repulsion is more, bond energy decreases. That's the reason, because of smaller size and due to inter-electronic repulsion, the fluorine bond dissociation energy decreases. That is one of the important property of fluorine. It has low bond dissociation energy. So decreasing order of bond dissociation energy displayed on a TV screen. Let me once again tell you that the decreasing order of bond dissociation energy is Cl2 greater than Br2 greater than F2 greater than I2. Okay, students? Thank you. Well, students, we have already discussed about physical properties of halogens. Now, we'll discuss chemical properties of halogens. What are the chemical properties? Let's see here. All the chemical properties displayed on a TV screen. You can have a look there. So, let me tell you first the oxidation state and trends in chemical reactivity. First chemical properties, oxidation states. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, the common oxidation state is -1. Fluorine exhibit only one oxidation state, that is -1. Question comes why? Rest of the element, they can exhibit the oxidation state +1, +3, +5 and +7. Why fluorine only -1? Most electronegative element, no vacant orbital, hence it can accept one electron only, so -1. Why one electron? 7 electron in the outermost shell. After getting one electron, the electronic configuration is 8. Stable electronic configuration now, that is electronic configuration of neon. The fluorine exhibit only one oxidation state, that is -1 always. No extension of, the fluorine can't extend its covalency beyond 1. Fluorine usually form one bond because it can share only one electron, as only one unpaired electron available in the valence shell. Coming to rest of the element, chlorine, bromine, iodine, they exhibit all the oxidation state possible here. That is +1, +3, +5, +7, also +4 and +6. So, the common oxidation state of these three elements are chlorine, bromine, iodine. Oxidation state +1, +3, +5 and +7. Why? Due to presence of vacant d orbitals. So, they can extend their covalency after 7. Chlorine can show 7 covalent bond. It can form 7 covalent bond because the electron can be accepted. Okay, let me show you that this one, that chlorine excitation 17 electron. So, it is electronic configuration neon 10, 3s1, 3px1, 3py1, 3pz1, 3dxy1, 3dyz1 and 3dzx1. See how many half-filled orbital in the outer shell of Cl. How many half-filled orbital? Orbital with one electron, half-filled orbital. How many? Students, how many? Yes, 7 half-filled orbitals. So, that is why the covalency of chlorine can be 7. That is the maximum covalence of chlorine. So, chlorine, bromine, iodine, they can extend their covalency up to 7 due to presence of vacant orbitals. Next point, the higher oxidation state of chlorine, bromine and iodine, it's possible when they forms compound with electronegative element, highly electronegative fluorine and oxygen atoms. Chlorine can shows +7 oxidation state in Cl2O7. That is when it forms compound with oxygen and fluorine. Fluorine with fluorine means interhalogen compounds. Okay, so +7 oxidation state is possible here. All the halogens are highly reactive. They are highly reactive. They react with metals and non-metals to form halides. And the most reactive halogen is fluorine. You know, students, fluorine was there, but no scientist was able to isolate fluorine. See the difficulty. We know that fluorine exists, but we can't isolate fluorine. Why? It remained a difficult problem in chemistry for many years. After a hard labor of 75 years, finally, scientist Moissan was able to isolate fluorine in the year 1886. So, that in that year 1886, Moison was able to isolate fluorine by electrolysis of electrolysis of anhydrous hydrogen fluoride in presence of potassium hydrogen fluoride, that is premise reagent. So fluorine was isolated after a hard labor of 75 years by different scientists. Okay, why? Now fluorine is the most reactive element. Why it the most reactive? Because of low heat of dissociation and high electronegativity. It's the most reactive element. It reacts with almost all the elements possible. That is why its isolation was a difficult problem in chemistry for many years. Next chemical property is oxidizing power. Once again, a very important chemical property. It is the oxidizing power of halogens. Oxidizing power of halogens decreases down the group. I repeat, decreases down the group. The strongest oxidizing agent available in the universe, fluorine, F2, the strongest oxidizing agent. Why it has the strongest oxidizing power? Why it is the strongest oxidizing agent? F2, the strongest oxidizing agent. Why? Because of high standard reduction potential. Standard reduction potential. You must have learned this in electrochemical series. Fluorine has the highest standard reduction potential. Why? It is because fluorine has low heat of dissociation and F minus has high heat of hydration. Low heat of dissociation, high heat of hydration is responsible for the high oxidizing power of fluorine, or fluorine has the highest standard reduction potential. You know, greater the reduction potential, greater the tendency to get reduced. Greater is the reduction potential, greater the tendency to get reduced. Fluorine has the highest reduction potential, so it has the most tendency to get reduced. Fluorine can easily form F minus ion. That is why it is the strongest oxidizing agent available in the universe. Next, chlorine, then bromine and iodine. The oxidizing power directly proportional to reduction potential. Greater the reduction potential, greater the tendency to oxidize. Oxidizing power. Okay, this is a very important property. It is displayed. All these values are displayed on a TV screen. Say the reduction potential of fluorine, it is 2.87, chlorine 1.36, and bromine 1.09, iodine 0.54 volt. So fluorine with the highest value of reduction potential, the strongest oxidizing agent. Okay, and order of reducing power is just reverse. Reducing power means the substance which can be easily oxidized. Which are easily oxidized here? The I minus is the strongest reducing agent. That means I minus can be easily oxidized. Why I minus can be easily oxidized? Because of highest oxidation potential. The order result there, I minus greater than Br minus greater than Cl minus greater than F minus. This is reducing power of halide ions. Oxidizing power of halogens, F2 greater than Cl2 greater than Br2 greater than I2. Very important property, students. You have to remember this, that arrange the halogens in decreasing order of oxidizing power. Answer you know, F2 greater than Cl2 greater than Br2 greater than I2. The relative oxidizing power of halogens can further be illustrated by their reaction with water. See, fluorine reacts with water and oxidizes water to oxygen gas. React with water, displayed on your TV screen. Fluorine reacts with water and oxidizes water to oxygen. And how does chlorine bromine react? You see, how does chlorine bromine react with water? Cl2 plus water, HCl and HOCl. HCl and HOCl, that is hydrogen chloride, hydrochloric acid and hypochlorous acid. Okay, the chlorine reacts with water to give hydrochloric acid and hypochlorous acid. Bromine reacts with water to give hydrobromic acid and hypobromous acid. Iodine, how does it react with water? No reaction. Iodine does not react with water at all. From this we can also explain the oxidizing behavior of halogens. Iodine can't be reduced. So you see here, chlorine is reduced. Okay, then Br2, this also reduce, HBr and HOBr. The substance which are reduced are good oxidizing agent. Chlorine, bromine, they are good oxidizing agent because they can reduce themselves. Okay, fluorine is the strongest oxidizing agent. You see, it oxidizes water to oxygen. It is one of the powerful oxidizing agent. And iodine, no reaction with water. That means iodine is a weak oxidizing agent. This is oxidizing behavior. Coming to reactivity towards hydrogen. All these elements react with hydrogen to form hydrohalic acid like hydrochloric acid, hydrobromic acid, hydrofluoric acid, hydroiodic acid. So, they react with hydrogen at ordinary conditions to form that is hydrohalic acid. Fluorine react with hydrogen explosively even if in the dark. Most reactive element fluorine, they react with hydrogen explosively in the dark, even if in the dark. Chlorine react with water in presence of sunlight to form HCl. Bromine also react with hydrogen in presence of sunlight to form HBr. Iodine does not react with hydrogen at ordinary conditions to form Hi. Okay. So, iodine is the least reactive. You know the reactivity order, the fluorine greater than Cl2, greater than Br2, greater than iodine. Coming to the hydrohalic acid properties. First, we will discuss the acidic properties of the hydrohalic acids. Can you tell me what the decreasing order of acidic character of hydrohalic acids? Which one is the strongest acid in the halogen acids or hydrohalic acids? Hi is the strongest acid and HF is the weakest acid. So, what is the decreasing order of acidic strength of hydrohalic acids? HF lesser than HCl, lesser than HBr, lesser than Hi, displayed on your TV screen. What about the stability of these hydrohalic acids? Stability, bond energy decreases down the groove. Why? H is so small in size, iodine is too large in size. Don't expect there will be a covalent bond, better covalent bond between H and iodine. Iodine too large in size and hydrogen too small in size. So, overlapping between the orbital is minimum, overlapping minimum, bond is weaker bond is the weakest bond here. So, Hi is the it has the lowest bond energy, HF has the highest bond energy because fluorine is the smaller size, overlapping is maximum, bond is very good. Coming to the boiling point order, very important question, maybe ask you that arrange the halogen acids in the decreasing order of their boiling point. The which halogen acid has the highest boiling point? Can you answer? Yes, student, you can answer. Yes, it is HF. Why? Due to hydrogen bonding, intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Fluorine is the element which can form hydrogen bond. No other elements, chlorine, bromine, iodine, large size, they can't form hydrogen bond. So, HF because of intermolecular hydrogen bond, it has the highest boiling point, followed by HCl, HBr or HA. Next, HF has the highest boiling point, we got the answer. Why? Hydrogen bonding. Other halogen acids, no hydrogen bonding. Then which factor responsible for higher boiling point? Van der Waals force of attractions, the dipole-dipole attractions. So, the molecular mass, molecular size matters now. So, next halogen acid with the higher boiling point is Hi. So, HF greater than Hi greater than HBr greater than HCl. This is the decreasing order of boiling point of the halogen acids. So, most volatile halogen acid HCl, least volatile halogen acid HF, most boiling halogen acid HF, least boiling halogen acid HCl. So, these are some chemical properties of halogen acids. These are some important chemical properties of halogen acids we have discussed. Okay, students, thank you very much. Thanks for your patient hearing. Students, we have already discussed the chemical properties and physical properties of halogens in the last class. In today's class, we will discuss about the reactivity towards oxygen, one more chemical property of halogens, reactivity towards oxygen. Fluorine react with oxygen to form two compounds OF2 and O2F2. It is given, it is spread on a TV screen, oxygen difluoride and dioxygen difluoride. Both these compounds are called fluorides, not oxides. Why? Because fluorine is more electronegative than oxygen. It is the most electronegative element available in the periodic table. Hence, we can't call these two compounds of fluorine as oxides. It is not fluorooxide. It is oxygen difluoride, dioxygen difluoride. And between these two, OF2 is more stable. I mean, oxygen difluoride is more stable at 25 degrees centigrade, I mean room temperature. Both are strong fluorinating agents. Both these compounds are strong fluorinating agents. That means they can fluorinate other compound, other element. For example, O2F2 oxidizes plutonium to plutonium hexafluoride. Okay, which can be removed as spent nuclear fuel. Chlorine, bromine and iodine form oxides in which the oxidation state of these halogen vary from +1 to +7. Chlorine, bromine, iodine, okay, they form oxides in which oxidation state can be from +1 to +7. And if you combine kinetic parameter and thermodynamic parameter, both kinetic and thermodynamic parameter taken into considerations, we found that the iodine oxides are the most stable oxides, followed by chlorine, followed by bromine. Very important point, students, you have to remember which oxide are the most stable oxides of halogen? Iodine, because fluorine is the oxide, it can't form oxides. Okay, so fluorine compounds of fluorine with oxygen are called fluorides. So the iodine oxides are the most stable oxides, then chlorine oxides, then bromine oxides. The higher oxides of halogen tend to be more stable than the lower ones. So higher oxide, I mean Cl2O7 is more stable than Cl2O3, like this. Next, chlorine oxides, Cl2O, Cl2O6 and Cl2O7 are highly reactive oxidizing agent and also used as bleaching agent, particularly ClO2. Okay. Bromine oxide, least stable oxides. It also forms three oxides, you can say Br2O, BrO2 and BrO3, but these are least stable oxides and also very powerful oxidizing agents. Iodine oxides, they are the stable, most stable oxides of halogen, that is iodine oxides. So these iodine oxides are also good oxidizing agent. Reactivity of halogens towards other halogens. Halogens can combine with other halogens to form compound, and these class of compounds are called interhalogen compounds. I repeat, interhalogen compounds. How it is possible? It is because of difference in electronegativity between the halogens. For example, ClF3, chlorine, fluorine, there is difference in electronegativity between Cl and fluorine. So they can combine with each other to form the compounds called interhalogen compounds. Some of the examples are displayed on a TV screen. Compounds of halogen. The physical and chemical properties is over now. Now we will discuss the compounds of halogen. First compounds of halogen in our syllabus is chlorine gas, Cl2. Students, do you know you have already prepared chlorine gas in laboratory? In laboratory you have already prepared chlorine gas. Do you know that? Yes. Let me tell you, let me refresh you how you have prepared chlorine gas in laboratory. That you must have taken chloride salt in a clean and dry test tube, then add concentrated sulfuric acid, this must be detected to you, followed by addition of a black powder, that is MnO2. So for example, I am taking sodium chloride in a clean and dry test tube and I am adding concentrated H2SO4 to it, then I am adding MnO2. So which gas is liberated on heating? The gas liberated, that now gas evolves as greenish yellow color. The gas is chlorine gas. So how it is possible? The reaction displayed on a TV screen. Okay, MnO2 acts as an oxidizing agent. It oxidizes HCl, thus form between MnO2 and H2SO4. Okay, so NaCl react to the H2SO4 to form HCl. This HCl now oxidized by MnO2 . This is the reaction. So H2SO4 react with NaCl to give HCl gas. That HCl then oxidized by oxygen liberated when MnO2 reacts with H2SO4, the nascent oxygen oxidizes HCl to chlorine. This is the reaction. The chlorine can be prepared in laboratory by this method also. Other method of preparation displayed on a TV screen, we can also add HCl to potassium permanganate and chlorine gas liberated because KMnO4 oxidizing agent, HCl reducing agent, it is a redox reaction displayed. PbO2 HCl, this also gives chlorine, MnO2 HCl, MnO2 and HCl, This also liberate chlorine, MnO2. Okay. So, here also chlorine liberated to water. This is another method of preparation of chlorine gas. We can also prepare chlorine gas by this method. Manufacture of chlorine when required on a large scale, I mean industrial method. Chlorine when required on a large scale, we can follow two methods called Dickens process and electrolytic process. What is Dickens process? Students, you have to remember this. It's the oxidation of hydrochloric acid, oxidation of hydrogen chloride gas, the oxidation of hydrogen chloride gas by atmospheric oxygen in presence of the cartilage cupric chloride. So, this is Dickens process where hydrogen chloride gas is oxidized by oxygen to form chlorine gas, to liberate chlorine gas. Electrolytic process, we can prepare this easily by electrolysis of brine, I mean concentrated NaCl solutions. Concentrated NaCl solution upon electrolysis liberate chlorine gas and the chlorine gas thus liberated at the anode, the electrolysis of NaCl. Can you tell me which gas is liberated at the cathode when NaCl solution is electrolyzed? Chlorine gas is liberated at the anode, okay, but which gas is liberated at the cathode? Students, this is the electrolysis of NaCl. You must have a proper understanding of the electrolysis. You have already learned electrolysis. Already it has been taught you that NaCl upon electrolysis, the fused NaCl upon electrolysis between the graphite anode and iron cathode, the sodium is deposited or nickel cathode. Sodium is deposited at the cathode, chlorine gas is liberated at the anode. But when NaCl solution is electrolyzed, chlorine is liberated at the anode and hydrogen gas is liberated at the cathode. Hydrogen gas solution becomes alkaline due to presence of NaOH. Okay. Next, properties of chlorine gas. It is a greenish yellow gas. I have already told you. It is soluble in water, reacts with water to form HCl and HOCl. Oxidizing and bleaching properties. It is a good oxidizing agent, chlorine gas. Okay. Chlorine oxidizes ethyl alcohol to acetaldehyde. It is a good oxidizing agent. Oxidizes ethanol to acetaldehyde. Also, it has bleaching action. Mainly, chlorine shows oxidizing action in presence of moisture. Why? Let me show that reaction. Chlorine shows oxidizing as well as bleaching action in presence of moisture. That is due to this nascent oxygen. Okay. Which is responsible for its bleaching action as well as oxidizing action. So, it bleaches vegetable and organic matter in presence of moisture. And how does it show oxidizing action? Displayed on the TV screen. Ferrous ion is oxidized to ferric ion by chlorine. When chlorine shows oxidizing action, you know, oxidizing agent are the agent which reduce themselves. Chlorine when shows oxidizing action, it reduces itself to Cl minus ion, but oxidizes other. It oxidizes ferrous ion to ferric ion, oxidizes sulfide ion to sulfide ion, displayed on your TV screen. Sulfur dioxide to sulfuric acid, iodine to iodic acid, Br minus, I minus. You see, these are two important reactions. Let me write here. Cl2, Ki, KCl and iodine. Okay. Cl2, KBr, KCl and Br2. See, chlorine oxidizes potassium iodide to iodine. Chlorine oxidizes KBr to Br2. Now, I am writing one more reactions. Br2 plus 2 KCl. Can you answer, students? Can you answer this one? Br2 with 2 KCl. Br2 can it oxidize Cl minus ion? No, no reactions. So, Br2 can't oxidize KCl to chlorine, whereas Cl2 oxidizes Br minus to Br2. Cl2 oxidizes iodide to iodine. Okay, chlorine being a stronger oxidizing agent oxidizes the Br minus and I minus to their corresponding halogen. This is the oxidizing behavior of halogens. Also, one more important reaction, let me write two more important reactions for chlorine oxidizing oxygen, Cl2 with ammonia. With excess of chlorine, important reaction students, with excess of chlorine it gives an explosive compound, this one NCl3. It gives an explosive compound. But if ammonia is in excess, here ammonia is taken in excess. These are two important reactions. It gives ammonium chloride and liberate nitrogen gas. Two very important reactions, students. Okay. So, this is all about the oxidizing oxygen of chlorine. Next compound of halogen acids. The first halogen acid we are going to discuss is hydrochloric acid. Let's first see what are the methods of preparation of hydrochloric acid. The preparation of hydrochloric acid displayed on your TV screen. Let's have a look here. First, by heating a halide with concentrated acid, for example, sodium chloride when heated with concentrated H2SO4 at 150 degrees centigrade, it gives sodium bisulfate and HCl. That sodium bisulfate when treated with excess of sodium chloride at higher temperature gives sodium sulfate and HCl. This is called salt cake method. I repeat, salt cake method. Why it is called salt cake method? Because sodium bisulfate, I mean NaHSO4. Sodium bisulfate is called salt cake. So, it is salt cake method. Now, question comes, HCl produce, okay, but how it is dried? Can you use calcium oxide, I mean quicklime for drying of HCl gas? No, because calcium oxide react with HCl. Why? Calcium oxide is basic. So, the moment it find acid, obviously it will react to give salt. It calcium chloride is formed. Next, can you use phosphorus pentoxide, another common dehydrating agent, common drying agent for drying of HCl? Once again answer is no. Why? Because phosphorus pentoxide, I mean P4O10 also react with HCl to give POCl3 and metaphosphoric acid HPO3. Then how HCl gas is dried? HCl gas is dried by passing through concentrated sulfuric acid. I repeat, HCl gas is dried by passing through concentrated sulfuric acid. So, students, you must remember that HCl gas is dried by passing it over concentrated H2SO4. Coming to properties of hydrochloric acid, colorless, pungent smelling gas, acidic taste. This is neither combustible nor supporter of combustion. When perfectly dry, halogen acids, I mean HCl, have no oxygen or litmus, but in aqueous solution it shows acidic character. Amongst the halogen acid, HI is the strongest acid and as you know HF is the weakest acid. Okay. So, this is hydrochloric acid. Coming to the interhalogen compounds. Next compound of halogen, interhalogen compounds. I have already discussed about interhalogen compounds. Halogens, because of their small difference in electronegativity, due to their small difference in electronegativity, they can combine with each other to form compounds of the type ABN. Compound of the type ABN, where size of A is bigger than the size of B. Both are halogens, both A and B are halogens, but size of A must be larger than the size of B. A, B both are halogens, size of A must be greater than the size of B, and the value of N depends on size of A. N is directly proportional to, you can say, size of A. Okay. So, for example, chlorine. What is the maximum value of N possible for chlorine? 3. For chlorine, maximum value of N is 3. For bromine it is 5. Maximum value of N for bromine is 5. For iodine, it is 7. Interhalogen compounds. What about the interhalogen compounds? What type of compounds they form? Displayed on a TV screen. For example, if you consider AB, I mean N is 1. What are the compounds possible? ClF, BrF, ICl, IF, etc. Av3, what are the compound possible? ClF3, BrF3, ICl3, etc. Similarly, Av5, ClF5, BrF5, IF5. Av7, the compound possible under this class Av7 is IF7. Okay. So, usually Ab7 is possible with fluorine. I mean B must be fluorine and A must be iodine. That IF7 is the compound. Why this is so? Because fluorine being more electronegative, it can contract the size of d orbital, so that hybridization is possible. In IF7, you know what is the hybridization of IF7? Can you tell me what the hybridization of what the hybridization of iodine in IF7? It is sp3d3. Okay, d orbital is taking part in hybridization. How it is possible? sp, they are smaller in size, d is larger in size. How it is possible? It is because of fluorine it is possible. Fluorine contract the size of d orbital, so d orbital is taking part in hybridization along with s and p orbital, hybridization sp3d3. And geometry, as you know, the arrangement of this orbital is pentagonal bipyramidal. sp3d3 hybridization, the geometry is pentagonal bipyramidal. Properties: these compounds may be gases, liquids or solids, and which are gases possible, it is displayed on your TV screen. ClF, BrF, ClF3, IF3, these are gases. Okay. Liquids: BrF3, BrF. Solid: ICl, IBr, IF3, ICl3. Okay. So, ICl, what is the name of the ICl? Iodochloride. What does it mean? That means iodine can exhibit the positive oxidation state, I plus, Cl minus possible. For example, if somebody asks you that what is the product possible when ICl is added to propene? ICl is added to propene. You know, propene undergoes, that is electrophilic addition, and it obeys Markovnikov's rule. This one. So, Markovnikov's rule, negative part of the addendum, which one is addendum? This one, this is going to be added. Addendum, negative part, chlorine, goes to the carbon atom of the double bond containing lesser hydrogens. Markovnikov's rule. You know this. In alkyl halides, you must have learned this, that alkenes with halogen acids gives alkyl halides. Here I am using an interhalogen compound, and positive part goes to the carbon atom of the double bond containing more hydrogens, CH3, CHCl, CH2, iodine. Okay. Interhalogen compounds are generally colorless, and all the interhalogen compounds are covalent molecules which are dimagnetic in nature. Dimagnetic because there is no unpaired electron. So, that is their covalent, and all the interhalogen compounds are covalent and diamagnetic. They are also colorless. Usually interhalogen compounds are colorless. Particularly which are colorless? Interhalogen compounds containing fluorine are colorless. Okay. But interhalogen consisting heavier halogens like IBr, ICl, they are colored. About the reactivity, if we compare the interhalogen compounds, for example, I will compare the reactivity between ClF3 and fluorine. Okay. If we compare the reactivity, ABN is more reactive than B2. ABN is the interhalogen compound, it is more reactive than B2, provided B should not be fluorine. B can't be fluorine. B cannot be fluorine, because fluorine is the most reactive element. I have already told you it remained a difficult problem, that is the isolation fluorine for many years. So, ABN is more reactive, I mean interhalogen compounds are more reactive than the parent halogens. It is because in interhalogen compounds the bond is weaker than the halogens. That is why interhalogen compounds are more reactive. Interhalogen compounds are also good fluorinating agents. For example, one reaction displayed on a TV screen, that is it is ClF3 used as a fluorinating agent for uranium. All these interhalogen compounds also undergoes hydrolysis. It is also one of the important reactions. It is undergoes hydrolysis. Interhalogens compounds undergo hydrolysis. And how does hydrolysis takes place? If it is AB, if it is AB plus water it gives Hb, this is Hb and HOA. For example, I am giving one example here. ICl plus water, it gives HCl, HOI, hypoiodous acid. ClF plus water, HF plus HOCl, etc. Okay. Similarly, the other interhalogen compounds like Ab3, when Ab3 undergoes hydrolysis, what it gives? It gives hypohalite. This is hypohalite when Ab, but when it is Ab3, it gives halite. For example, ClF3 plus water, okay, it is HF and HClO2, halite. This is, and Ab5, it gives halate, and Ab7 gives perhalate upon hydrolysis. These are the properties of interhalogen compounds. Next is oxo acids, but general physical and chemical properties as well as compounds of halogens we have discussed here. In compounds we have discussed halogens, that is chlorine preparation properties, then compounds of halogen like hydrochloric acid, we have discussed preparation and properties. Next we have discussed the interhalogen compounds, their properties and their structure. Okay. So, that is all for halogens. Thank you.